In this section, we'll compare OpenClaw and Hermes Agent through a career lens. The goal isn't just to understand the frameworks technically, but to see what each one signals to hiring managers. We'll also look at how to turn that knowledge into a stronger portfolio, one that shows you can move beyond demos and build AI systems that are actually production-ready. This comparison matters because employers are looking for more than someone who can write prompts. They want engineers who understand the architectural trade-offs behind agent systems. OpenClaw and Hermes represent two very different design bets. OpenClaw focuses on infrastructure and integration, while Hermes emphasizes adaptive memory and learning loops. And that difference matters in hiring, because each framework signals different roles, team needs, and the kinds of questions you'll face in interviews. Here's OpenClaw at a glance. It's a personal AI assistant designed to work across operating systems and chat surfaces, so it fits naturally into how people already work. Its gateway architecture keeps the core flexible, with optional companion apps when needed. OpenClaw also includes a public skills registry called ClawHub, and it uses Docker-based sandboxing to safely isolate any session outside the main one. Here's the OpenClaw system architecture at a glance. The gateway accepts requests from channels like WhatsApp, Slack, WebChat, and iOS. Then the orchestrator routes each one to the correct session. The session manager handles execution. The main session can use tools directly on the host, while all other sessions run inside isolated Docker containers for safer containment. Shared assets live in the core workspace, under the OpenClaw workspace and ClawHub registry. Here are the key operational features of OpenClaw. For session management, you can list active sessions with Sessions List, pull prior context using Sessions item s2, and coordinate work across sessions with Sessions is item s and ti. OpenClaw also follows a simple workspace convention. Everything is rooted at atomclaw/workspace with a dedicated skills directory for reusable tool definitions. Together, these features make multi-session workflows more organized, consistent, and easier to scale. Hermes Agent is designed to get better over time. It includes a built-in learning loop, so it can create new skills from experience and keep refining them as it works. It also maintains a persistent user model across sessions, which helps it stay personalized and consistent. And it's portable by design, so you can run it on a VPS, a GPU cluster, or serverless infrastructure without changing the code. Hermes uses a learning loop architecture rather than acting like a one-shot agent. With each experience, it stores persistent memory, improves existing skills, and can even create new ones. Those capabilities carry forward into the next experience, so the system keeps getting better over time. That means Hermes doesn't just complete tasks in isolation. It builds reusable procedures and user-specific context that make future interactions smarter and more effective. Here's a side-by-side look at the design philosophy behind each approach. On one side, the focus is on flexibility and customization, giving teams more control over how systems are built and adapted. On the other, the emphasis is on simplicity, consistency, and ease of use, helping teams move faster with less overhead. This comparison highlights not just different tools, but different priorities in how solutions are designed and delivered. Here's a simple way to frame the stack. At the top is the interface layer, where channels and app surfaces live. Then orchestration, which handles routing and coordination, and memory, which manages persistent context and the user model. Below that are the tool and model layers, covering permissions, sandboxing, provider choice, and portability. OpenClaw is strongest in the top 3 layers, while Hermes Agent stands out in memory and model. This slide highlights the different kinds of evidence each framework gives us. OpenClaw shows that agents can actually be wired into real environments, deployed across multiple channels, and operated safely with the right permissions and controls. Hermes Agent, by contrast, helps prove quality over time, how memory is designed to persist, and whether the agent holds up under rigorous longitudinal evaluation. This slide is really about career fit. OpenClaw maps best to systems-oriented roles like AI engineering, developer tools, and AI product work, especially when success depends on reliable execution in messy, real-world environments. Hermes points more toward research and platform roles, like applied research, agent products, and long-horizon assistant platforms, where persistent memory and self-improvement aren't just nice to have, they're central to the product itself. To make your comparison credible, build a small project in both stacks and document the trade-offs you find. Define the workflow, implement the same features, and measure what actually happens. Performance, developer experience, complexity, and maintenance. That side-by-side evidence shows engineering judgment, not personal preference. And that's what hiring managers want to see. Concrete measurement and thoughtful reasoning instead of abstract opinions about which technology is better. Here are the key things to measure in the comparison. First, setup complexity and how long it takes to get to a working workflow. Then memory usefulness. Does cross-session context actually improve results or just add overhead? Also, look at intervention rate, how often a human has to step in. And finally, deployment ergonomics. Show difficult it is to run the system reliably in production day to day. Security shouldn't be seen as a hiring liability, but we do need to be clear-eyed about the risks. OpenClaw has had data exposure concerns, a high-severity issue called clawjacked, and even malware distributed through fake installers. The right response is to show mature security thinking, document the threat model, explain how secrets are handled, define sandbox boundaries, verify package provenance, and make safe defaults part of the design. Here's a simple security checklist to highlight in your portfolio. First, define the threat model. What can the agent access, and how much damage could a compromise cause? Next, isolate risky actions by using Docker sandboxes instead of running untrusted tools on the host. Protect secrets with environment variables or a secret manager, never hard-coded credentials. And finally, verify package provenance by checking installer sources and documenting how dependencies are validated. Here's how to think about interview prep across the 5 dimensions interviewers usually evaluate. OpenClaw gives you the strongest material for the first 3: architecture, reliability, and security. Hermes Agent is strongest for the last 2: product judgment and longitudinal evidence. If you prepare with both, you're not just studying isolated topics, you're covering the full interview surface in a balanced, interview-ready way. One strong interview point is model portability. Hermes makes this very explicit. You can switch providers with little or no code change, because portability is built into the abstraction. OpenClaw is more runtime first, where provider choice is usually handled through configuration. But the bigger focus is the surrounding integration ecosystem. Calling out that difference shows you understand the full stack, from models to memory, tools, orchestration, and deployment. To wrap up, your portfolio should include 5 core artifacts. First, a public repo with both implementations documented side by side. Second, a short architecture write-up that explains your design choices and trade-offs. Third, a benchmark notebook with measurements across all 5 comparison dimensions. Fourth, a security checklist covering your threat model and mitigations. And finally, a demo video showing one task completed end-to-end in each system. Here's the whole career strategy in one framework. Learn both platforms by building the same workflow in OpenClaw and Hermes, then present them differently. OpenClaw shows your system's depth, while Hermes highlights your agent design depth. Make sure you show evidence too: benchmarks, failure cases, and how your work improved over time. That combination gives you a strong story for roles in LLM engineering, AI product, and agent platform teams. The bottom line is this: the framework itself isn't the point. What matters is what you can demonstrate through it. architecture literacy, operational discipline, and rigorous evaluation. If you build, measure, and document a real comparison project, you turn framework knowledge into evidence you can actually show employers. And when you can clearly explain why one framework fits one use case and another fits a different one, that's what signals senior-level AI engineering judgment.